This message is for Henry. Henry, we got your question, and the question is, hey, we love your content and passion you have for what you do. My question is, being new to face-to-face for final expense sales, I hear a lot about 30 new leads a week. 10 to 12 appointments equals 4 to 5 apps. I like to reverse engineer everything as well, as do I. I just started out in final expense and found you all still love final expense face-to-face. And my question is, my IMO gives me free age direct mail leads. What metrics are you seeing for 24-month-old leads to grab a few apps and prove myself so I can graduate to the fresh lead orders? I hear a lead is a lead, but I closed one of the 30 for my first batch. What metrics should I be aiming for, and how can I improve my chances of success with this type of progress? Most phone numbers are off and a few people answer, so I pretty much door knocked most of those 30. Any tips, tweaks, adjustments are greatly appreciated. Great question. And I love your enthusiasm. Thanks for reaching out, especially when it comes to the Mentor Ready program. Go ahead and take out a pen, pencil, iPad, and I want you to start taking notes. I love the fact that you're metrics ready, because this entire field in any sales, you've got to make sure that the metrics play into your favor, and they should, as long as you're looking at two things, because these results that you're wanting to get will always boil down to two things. One, if you're not getting the right results that you're desiring, it's either one, it's a people problem, or number two, it's a systems problem. Dan Martell taught me that. And so you almost have to look at it from the fact of, if I'm not getting the right results, it's a people's problem or a systems problem. So if it's a people's problem, it could either be you, or number two, it could either be the person that's coaching you if you're not getting the right result that you want. That being said, it could be that you have a connection problem. It could be that you have a door approach challenge. If you're doing a call ahead, with the call ahead, are you able to be relatable? Second, systems. It could be a systems problem. For example, if the IMO that you're with right now pretty much just threw you a script and said, go get them, Tiger, well then you're probably not going to be as successful, in my opinion, because they're really not, it's not about holding your hand, but it's about really financially investing in this brand new agent so that they physically can get the result that the team, the mission is obviously marching towards. This is why what I hear a lot of is that, you know, these IMOs, some of them, not all of them, because there's really some great ones out there that take the time to develop and equip their new agents to get them running out there, and they're launching them really well. They've got great systems in place. But if they're just throwing you a script and they're not physically helping you to develop your mindset, to tweak your door approach, your call ahead, or potentially your presentation, well, then it's a systems problem. It's very important that you understand and dial into both. Another thing too is that if it's a people's challenge, whether it's, you know, potentially the direct manager or you, if it is you and you're the problem, because if the systems are in place and they're doing a great job, then really now it's, okay, if it's a people's challenge, well, then that really boils down to two things. If you're not getting the result that you want, in my opinion, one close out of 30 leads, that's really not good odds. They're not in your favor. That's really, honestly, in my opinion, I think that's bad. And I'll tell you exactly what they should be, in my professional opinion, from what I've been able to see over the past 10 years in this industry. So if it's a people's challenge, AKA, let's take full ownership and let's just say it's us. You're either not doing it right, the presentation that's been taught to you, or B, you're not doing it enough. In other words, to be able to sharpen somebody's saw. I know, for example, and P.S., I'm super duper sorry, I'm like outside, it's about to storm, and we just got off the boat, just came back from Scotland yesterday, and I love the water. So if I'm looking a little like boat hair, all that mess, that is why. But that being said, if you're not doing it enough, then in my opinion, it sounds almost like you're getting out there, you're doing the work, because you told me that you went to the 30 leads. Maybe they didn't have phone numbers. Maybe they don't live there anymore if they are 24 months old, which is fine. In my opinion, look, you were correct, Henry. A lead is just a lead. It's just a lead. Think about it like this. Any lead type, whether it's a direct mail lead, whether it's a digital lead, a Facebook lead, they're going to have and yield a 1 to 5% response rate. But we're also mailing to all the same seniors. If final expense is the niche that you're in, then that tells me that your niche is the seniors that are typically above the age of 45 to 50 years old, which now you're tapping into a market of 103 million people currently right now in the United States that are above the age of 50, which is a massive opportunity. But a lead will only get you to what? 1 to 5% that physically respond to an ad or they respond to a letter that's sent in the mail. Doesn't matter, in my opinion, if it's 2 years old, 5 years old, 1 year old, 2 weeks old. I think most people will probably tell you that they like a certain lead type, but the person, the agent that becomes a great leader knows how to work all lead types, period. Whether it's 5 years old, whether it's 2 years old, it still gets you to a senior's home. The thought process here, in my opinion, is now that you're at their home, it doesn't seem like you're not doing the work. You are doing the work. What it sounds like is your door approach might be off. Are you doing a call ahead? If you're not doing the call ahead, you are missing out big time because that allows you to be more efficient with your time during the day. Metric wise, depending on what your goal is going to be derivative of what your metrics should be every single week. So if you're reverse engineering your goals, let's say, for example, if you want to make, let's say you're on a 70% contract, okay, and that's your compensation. Okay. So if you want to make, let's hypothetically say $9,000 in take home deposits, that hit your bank account within a month. If you're wanting to do that and you want to reverse engineer that goal of making $9,000, or let's just hypothetically say anywhere from $8,000 to $10,000. All right. If that's your goal, then you want to do and have a standard of 10 to 15 presentations per week. You want to have a goal of 50% from the door approach to the presentation. And then from the presentation, you want to have a 50% to a close. If you have 5 presentations in a day, you should have about a 50% close, which should yield you what? Maybe about 2.5, but really hypothetically, leaning more towards 2 or leaning towards 3. You want 50%. In other words, every presentation you go into, you want to be 50% of the time closing. Well, gosh, Ashley, that seems like really hard. No, it's not. When your presentation is on point, when you are the right person that is connecting, and when you're talking about, well, how do you become the right person when it comes to closing a sale? You're thinking more about the person, the potential client, than you're thinking about the sale. A lot of folks have commission breath when they get to the door. How are you positioning your mindset going to the door? If you're doing a call head, go to my YouTube. It's Ashley Kali. And when you go there, a few down when it comes to the videos, I did a doors to deals. Bam, it gives you the script. I have the script at the very end. You can just screenshot that, but it specifically tells you the call ahead on what to do. It is phenomenal. In my opinion, I think it's a great script to do for a call ahead, but that helps you get into the door to increase the favor of what? Your numbers. When you get to the door, how's your door approach? Are you physically just saying, hey, what's up? My name's Henry, and you filled something out in the mail, and I'm your lucky person to go over that information with you. Okay. Now that might work for some people, but if you're trying to go from being an agent to becoming a great leader is able to duplicate itself and create people that want to follow your vision, then everything you do has got to be duplicatable. It has to be duplicatable. That being said, your door approach, quite honestly, should practically be the same for every single lead type, whether it's 5 years old, 2 years old. And I think the problem that some of us potentially might have is that you're prejudging a lead and you're saying, gosh, this lead is 2 years old. Doesn't matter. Go. The person that has the most activity is the one that wins, as long as their presentation's on point. Because remember, it's only if it's a people's problem and you're not getting the results that you want and the systems are in place, the IMO's done a phenomenal job mentoring you, developing you, and showing you the terminology that should be used inside your presentation. Like you should visualize, okay, for example, we do a 10-step presentation. Bam, you know exactly, boom, step number 1, you got to connect. And that connect is going to take about 5 to 6 minutes. Bam, right after that, it's step number 2. So your IMO should automatically be teaching you, hey, this is what the presentation looks like. Because if you're not creating value, urgency, likability, and trust, which we call that the Volt, if you're not creating those 4 things inside your presentation and they can't feel that right at the door, then guess what? You're not going to get a close. You're not going to be able to help that senior make a great buying decision because that's what we're there to do. We're there to help our potential clients make a great buying decision for their family. Our job is to make a friend, find a need, and fill a need. That's what it boils down to. So when it comes to the metrics of, well, if I have 30 leads and they're 2 years old, the metrics really should be, if you have 30 leads, you should be able to see, in my opinion, if the metrics are working in your favor, which they should, as long as you're the right person, then you should have had closes. You should have had 10 closes, regardless of what lead type it is. Now, our leads, all of our leads say final expense on them. In other words, that senior knows that when we're going to the door, guess what? We have their signature, or they filled it out, or we have a timestamp, and it's all life insurance. It's all final expense or their benefits. We're not going and sending out digital ads or direct mail that says, hey, you get a $25 gift card to Texas Roadhouse. Go ahead and fill this out. And then they really have no clue why you're there. And that's bait and switch. That's not right, period. So whatever the lead is, you want to make sure that it does say final expense, because clearly that increases your favor, because then they know why you're there. That being said, I hope that helps a little bit. Metrics wise, like I said, 1 out of 3 will close in a presentation, not 1 out of 3 typical leads. You got to get into a presentation. And again, me and you're a brand new agent. I've been doing this for 10 years. My odds of getting in the door are probably going to be stronger because I've been able to sharpen my saw for many, many years when it comes to value, urgency, likability, and trust. And I know why I'm there. I know what I'm able to offer this senior, that guess what? They want to see me. I really think that your potential client will perceive you how you perceive yourself. If you are scared at the door, they're not going to want to work with you. If you are not confident, well, how do you become confident? You become competent in what you're trying to help them with. Henry, I hope that helps a little bit when it comes to your question as to how can I increase my odds, increase my favor so that I can close more. And I really think it's increasing your value. I think it's increasing the urgency, the likability, and the trust. The moment you get on that phone and you're doing a call ahead at 9 o'clock in the morning and you got your lead batch, you've already created your route for the day. Let's say maybe on Naka Pro, which is a great app, by the way, and you do that call ahead and bam, there's certain little things that when you look at that doors to deals thing that I did through YouTube, you'll be able to see that and you'll get the script as well. Can't really think of anything else. Great job on being able to understand that this is all metrics driven. It really is an activity based career, but it's also, you can learn something after every single presentation. You can learn something after every single house that you go to, senior that you see. But if your heart's not in the right place and it's only about making a sale and making a commission, your senior's going to pick up on that. It's not about the money that you're making. It's about how many lives you really can touch and what we do. And they can feel that, they can see that. The question I'd probably ask you is, what is your benefits package that you're offering the people that come into partnership with you as far as being a client with you? Because that's what they're doing. They're partnering with you. They're not so much partnering with the Mutual of Omaha or Rural Neighbors. They're buying you. They're buying you. So what's your benefits package of you being their life insurance agent? That's what I would be thinking about. You increase those odds when you know the value that you're able to give to the other side of the table of the person that you're working with. Every single person wants to be my friend. Every single person wants to know who I am because of the value that I bring as far as connections, as far as wisdom, maybe potentially in this type of arena when it comes to being a financial expert, or when it comes to traveling the world, or when it comes to, hey, who do you recommend when it comes to your CPA or XYZ? I like being a connector. I want to connect my seniors to making a great buying decision, but then I want to connect them to the world around them as far as what benefits they can tap into. That if I trust a Mutual of Omaha or Rural Neighbors or an America Financial or a Transamerica, that's going to really supply them with the best darn death benefit that they can trust because they trust me. And that is something that is an art. That is a skill set. I don't believe that it's a gift for people when it comes to people skills. People skills is one of those things that you've got to do over and learn about and be a student of. In my opinion, it's not every day, but you got to be studying this stuff. Hope that helps, Henry. Excited for you. And please keep me in connection with how your metrics go up from what you learned here today. Looking forward to it, buddy.